We play and call it work.
Hey folks, Janene from MiniWarGaming here with another how-to video for ya. In this video, I want to continue work on this Retribution of Scyrah Hyperion Colossal Mini, and we are going to paint the metallic accents. As always, if you have suggestions for something you want to see in a future how-to video, please leave it down below in the comments. Our first step is going to be to base coat the metal. I'm going to do this using lead belcher. However, lead belcher is not quite dark enough for me as a starting color, so I'm going to mix it with a little bit of Abaddon black, probably about 50-50, and then I'm going to add a drop or two of Lamian medium into the paint just to make sure that it has a really nice flow. And I want to paint this as an all-over layer on all of the areas of metal. All of these areas that are sculpted into the armor plates that have these small little lines of orbs, those are all going to be metal, and I want to make sure that I paint that whole area. Basically, any of these little circular orbs on the armor, the metal plates, or any of the weapons, or any area like that is going to end up being metallic. I'm also going to paint the entirety of the center area right above the head, where it's got that big dip. That whole area is going to be metal as well. Alright, once we've finished with our black metal base layer, I'm going to add a little bit of a shade. I'm going to do that using the color Coelia Green shade. I'm using this shade because I want it to complement all of the glowing teal areas that we're going to add later. And I'm going to apply this on all of the edges of the metal where it meets up with our white armor. I don't need to put it in any of the areas that are going to have the teal glow. I just want to add a little bit of a shadow in all of the areas where there's a transition between the metal and the white armor, so that there's a lot of contrast between the two. I also want to use this shade to outline all of the finger joints in these fists, just so that the shadows are a little bit darker in between each of the little metallic sections of the fingers. And the same thing with this metal plate on the back where all the vents are. I want to make sure that I outline each of the metal sections so that they have a distinct shadow and they don't just blend together. After the Coelia Green shade is dried, we're going to highlight the metal with a little bit of Iron Breaker. I want to put this on top of all of the circular globes that protrude from the armor to make sure that they're really catching the light and really accentuating their roundness. On the flat iron areas, I want to make sure that I highlight the center of the sculpted area and leave that darker metallic color on the outer edges. I want to make sure that I bring this metallic highlight all the way around onto all of the areas, including all of these joints in the back of the legs and this back engine compartment, as well as the top of the guns on the front and the center area right behind the head. After we've highlighted our metals a little bit, we want to start adding the teal glow on all of the recessed areas. We're going to do that using Nihilax Oxide. This is a technical paint that's mainly used for weathering. However, it's really going to give us that teal light glowing effect that we want. It's got a very thin consistency, so it's going to go into all of these cracks that run in the metal plates. It's going to go all the way around the orbs, and it's not going to tint the metal, it's going to cover it up and give us a really nice matte color that we can highlight later. So just like when I'm applying my shades, I want to apply this the same consistency it is out of a pot. However, I'm going to load up my brush, I'm going to put it on the model, and then I'm going to spread that paint around to make sure that it doesn't pool anywhere too thickly and that I get the coverage and a nice even layer everywhere that I want it to be. I also want to make sure that I get all of these orbs that are on the armor but aren't on a metallic strip. And then there's lots of runes and swirlies on the armor as well. We're going to get this Nihilax Oxide into all of those swirls, making sure that it gets all the way down into those sculpted recesses. Once I've painted the teal color along all of the glowing areas, I want to go back with my iron breaker, and I'm going to paint all the orbs that I didn't already paint metallic. As I do this, I'm also going to use this step to clean up any of these little circles that had a little bit too much of the nihilakh oxide on them, and they're completely covered so that they're not shiny at all. Alright, now that we've got all of the orbs painted silver, our next color is going to be Runefang Steel, and we're going to very gently dot the top of each of these circles. We want to get about 2/3 of the way up for this little dot, and it's going to be kind of a circular highlight. That's really going to accentuate the roundness and make sure that we get the highlight in the area where the sun would be hitting the model if it were shining from right above. I also want to highlight all of the joints in the fingers and all of the areas in the back of the legs. Anywhere that's metallic, I want to make sure that I apply this Runefang Steel as a final highlight in the areas where the sun would be hitting it the brightest. You can see it in this middle area that we applied that nihilakh oxide as kind of a line highlight in all of the detailed areas in the middle. We want to make sure that we highlight the top of these lines that run through this central engine section and the top of the little gear right in the middle. After we've highlighted our metal, I want to do a little bit of highlighting in that teal nihilakh oxide area. I'm going to use Ceramite White, and I'm going to apply a little dot of this in a few areas to make it seem like the glow isn't necessarily one consistent color. I want it to seem as if energy's flowing through these runes, and some areas are brighter than others, and it's pulsing with energy. The areas that I really want to concentrate this highlight on are going to be mainly the areas where you have multiple lines of the rune meeting together, or areas where there is a sharp corner. Those are the areas where I kind of want to get this white highlight. If I feel like the contrast is too stark between the white and the teal of the nihilakh oxide, I can always mix a little bit of that color into my white and go back and blend the transition so that the gradient is a little bit more smooth. However, the nihilakh oxide is a very milky color, and so I find that this white blends into it really well, and it just makes it look a little bit brighter while still making it look like it's teal. Alright, and with that last little bit of white highlight, the metallic areas for this Hyperion Mini are complete. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more how-to videos, I have another one where I'm going to paint a wavy Chris dagger blade in the MiniWarGaming Vault, and the link down below in the description. If you don't already have a Vault membership, you can go ahead and click the link, sign up for a 7-day free trial, and get access to my video as well as hundreds of other videos in the MiniWarGaming Vault. So go ahead, click the link, start your free trial, and happy wargaming!